Hello. I wanted to talk about the advantages of recording or documenting your readings. It really makes a difference as far as your client's connection with you. And there's a difference between a journal, tarot journal, and a logbook. I have logbooks out. This one for a Celtic cross, and this one here for any spread you want to do. I want to go over those with you, but I want to show you the advantage of doing that. And the reason I think it's such an advantage is because if I read Mary, and a month from now, let's say I read her a month ago and she calls today, and it was something about selling her house or something. And I could easily look in my logbook and see what happened the last reading. So if I don't remember what we were talking about, I could look back and I could see, okay, this was selling your house. And I could say to her, so did you sell the house? Right away, she'll know that I remembered her. And if I look at the logbook, I'll remember, oh yeah, I remember that reading, you'll remember it. But it makes such a connection with her, with you, that she thinks it makes her feel more special, that you remembered what we were talking about the last reading. You could also look back at the cards at that reading and see if it worked out the way you said it would work out. Because now you're looking at Mary's situation, maybe about selling her house, in a different time element in the future from that reading. And you could look at and say, okay, here's what, now we know exactly what happened. Here's what I said would happen. And we could look in those cards that were placed in that positions, or that card spread, and see if I could see what really happened and how close I was and where I was wrong, if I was wrong. And so it really helps you see the cards in ways that you once you see what happened, now you can look at those cards and say, okay, I can see that here with that card. I didn't see it in the reading, but now I can see it with this card here, now that it already happened. And it broadens your range of what the cards can mean, because now you could put real meaning into them because the situation has happened. So they do help. But I think the biggest advantage of it, if you have a situation, like I said, where you could look back at that reading as you're talking with her and say, okay, how'd that job interview go? Maybe the reading was about a job interview. She'll think, wow, you remembered that. And that makes a connection that you won't find usually with other people, other readers. Also, if you're learning the cards and you're starting to read for yourself and you throw card spreads for yourself, it's a real good way to keep track of what you were thinking at certain times in your learning. You could do one of these for yourself. You could just make this whole thing on you and how you interpreted the cards and how you saw the cards at this particular time in your life. And it would be interesting to look back at that years later and see what you thought was in those cards, or if your predictions came true. I want to show you how these logbooks work, how I set them up. I'm going to turn this camera around and show you how it works. All right, this is these bands on here are because this was a mock-up. This was not for sale yet. This is before I okayed it. Amazon puts those on there. So if you buy this, this band will not be on there. But anyway, this is my tarot maps, chartered predictions with the Celtic cross. This one here is if you use just the Celtic cross. And the way they're set up is you have a ghosted Celtic cross over here. And over here, you can put the seeker's name, the date, the question being asked, keynotes about it, and then closure and predictions here, and any other notes you want to put in here. This is just your scratch sheet. And you would write the cards in here, Ace Cups, Knight, Wands, and so on, So you would have what you had in there. And every page is page numbered. And then what you have in the back here, in the front, they're all like that. It's just like this. And what you have over here in the front is you have 3 sections. Section 1, pages 16 through 56. And here's page 16, 56 down here. And then you have section 2, pages 60 through 100. 60 through 100. Section 3, pages 104 to 144. That's these. So now if Mary calls me and she wants a reading, I can just look at my list of the last reading I did. I'm in section 3, let's say, on this book. I can just go back here and say, when was the last time I read Mary? Well, this is my most recent reading. So I see I read Mary here on, I have just dates here. I have June 25th, 21, page 110. So I go to 110. These would have all been filled out already because I've been using it. I'm just showing you an example. And here's Mary's June 25th, 21. Mary, house selling the house. Keywords, keynotes, Hierophant card, position 6. Sell by November 21st, I said. And I had here 2 of coins, position 10. And I wrote in here, might rent before you buy. So you might be a transition, you might have to rent for a couple of months because it had 2 of coins. That's what I saw there. Just a little something there. And you could have other stuff written in here too. But anyway, I have the reading here. All the positions are marked, all the cards. And she could tell me what happened. And I could look at this now and say, I could look at this and see what happened. Now that it has happened, I can look and see it in these cards. And you will see it in the cards, even though it's an old reading. You'll see, okay, that's what happened. I could see that in here now that it already happened. You could do this before you start a reading. Now I could do another reading for her, but at least I could look here and say, and go right back to that reading. And again, that really makes a difference if you can remember stuff about the last reading with your client. It does impress them. So this logbook is for the Celtic cross only. This logbook, tarot reader's log, a diagrammatic journal of your tarot readings and predictions. And this one here has a different type of, the same setup as far as the index. A little background about things on both books. And then I have diagrams here of how to do the card spreads. Here I have the directory for your readings. Again, section 1, pages 22 through 63. Section 2, 66 through 106. Section 3, 110 to 150. And then we have section 1 here. And all these pages are marked. Now, what I did with this is I set up a grid like this. Oh, this information here is the same. The seeker's name, the card spread you're using here, because this is a variable. You can put whatever you want. The date, the question, keynotes, closure and prediction, and whatever else you want to write in here. This grid allows you to do whatever kind of card spread you want. Maybe you just want to go with a 3-card spread, so you could just any one of these 3 will work. You know, just these 3 right here, and it'll work. I have some templates in the front of this to show you how you would do different spreads. Here's the gypsy card spread. You would put it out like this: 3 rows, significator, and here's what the spread looks like. Here's how it would be laid out on the grid if you were to write these cards in there. Here's my Celtic cross. Positions 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 through 10. There's a horseshoe spread. 1 through 7. Here's what it looks like on the table. Here we have the tree of life spread. Here's what it looks like here. And here's how you would lay it out here. And I'm sure there's other spreads. Here I have the horoscope spread. Here again, we would lay that out. Here's what it looks like on your table. Right there. And like I said, I'm sure there's other spreads you could would work with this too. So that's how that works. 3 sections, 3 sections is section 1. And every section, you write the person's name down here, Mary, the date, and you would, and I know page 22, that's Mary. So as I'm going here, I could just keep on, I would have a list. Now, the next time I want to read Mary, I could just look on my list here and see when was the last time I read her. Or I read her on page 38. Last reading was there. I can go right back to this and look at page 38 and see what that reading was about. And that's how that works. Each reading is a 2-part spread, diagram, notes. And I thought this worked out very well. You could do the same thing with a pad of paper, but not as convenient as this because a pad of paper is not numbered. And so this allows you to really get right to where you're looking for. Something like this can really help if you have a dozen clients, let's say, that you read on a regular basis. It really allows you to hit right back home. I guess any number of clients would do the same thing. Allows you to get right back to the last time you read them. People do appreciate when you can remember. I know I've had people say, "How do you remember that?" You know, maybe it might be a year. And some people you just do remember, but others you're not going to remember exactly what it was you're talking about. But when you haven't read somebody for 6 months or so, and you mention to them, "How did that job interview go?" They look and say, "Wow, how do you remember? You remember me then. You remember that reading." And it really sets you apart from others. And if you look at the reading on your pages in your logbook, you'll remember little bits about it. You will remember. But if you didn't remember, you could look at the whole thing right there, all details of what cards were on the table. And just don't forget to record the reading you're doing too. And it does help create a bond with that person because the person thinks you really do remember. Little thing like that said, "How did that job interview go?" Man, you remember that? Yeah. So anyway, these are available on Amazon, both of them. I'll put a link down below to my Amazon page, my Amazon books. So the purple one is for almost any reading you want to think about doing. And the parchment paper one is for the Celtic cross. Can you do the same thing with this? Of course you can, you know, but the thing is, a notepad, there's no page numbers on there. There's no directory to look at. And you'd have to have some other way of organizing this. I've done it with this. It's all set up for you. And that's that. Tuesday's our next Zoom meeting, 14th of February, Valentine's Day. Just a bunch of readers get together and talk about all sorts of stuff. But we also talk about tarot cards. And if you got a question, come on by, say hello. And I'm sure everybody will put their head together and be happy to give you an answer about card techniques and things like that. We don't do readings there, but we just talk about the tarot cards. So anyway, keep throwing cards. We'll talk soon. Bye.